Struggling to find volunteers at church? Church life is often organized around programs and events. These activities meet a need in the church and in the greater community. However, there is a real issue of limited resources: money, time, and people. As a result, the church leans heavily on volunteer teams. The call for people to help and serve in programs never seems to end. However, as leaders, we want to prevent burnout of our team so that they can remain healthy and have longevity in service. As leaders, we want to be responsible for the care of our people, but balance the needs to function as the church. In this video, we're going to be exploring what is burnout and how to prevent it in your teams. Hey there, my name is Laura Howe, founder of Hope Made Strong. We equip you and your ministry team as you support and care for others in your community. As an industry heavily focused on serving and caring others, churches need to be aware of burnout, why it happens, and what you can do to prevent it in your teams. So let's take a closer look at what burnout is. To put it simply, burnout is comprised of three components: hopelessness, or the thought that nothing is ever going to change; helplessness, feelings that you have no control over your own circumstances; and number three, prolonged high levels of stress. Let's go deeper. Hopelessness, or the belief and mindset that things are going to be this way forever, that nothing is going to change. When we feel like the deadlines, demands on our times, or the needs that we're supporting are never ending, we can begin to lose hope. Persistent needs and constant demands quickly begin to feel like you're on a hamster wheel and you're just trying to keep up. Thoughts of hopelessness creep in and soon turn into beliefs that nothing is going to change. These may come out as thoughts and feelings of being stuck, trapped, overwhelmed, and obligated. It is vital that team members have the opportunity to rest and step away from the constant demands and constant deadlines. Establishing clear communication about what's coming and how the team and program is adapting and changing also provide hope so people don't get stuck in hopelessness. Helplessness is all about the lack of control and the feeling of powerlessness with the inability to say no. Have you ever been stuck in a situation and you feel like you can't say no? You politely carry on with the task, but inside you are resentful and you're frustrated, completing the work because you have to, not because you want to. In teams, frustration grows when they're unable to contribute creatively to the project and are just handed a list of tasks to do. Engaging your team and sincerely asking for input and actually moving forward with some of their ideas provide a sense of ownership and collaboration. No one likes to be micromanaged. People want to be part of something bigger than themselves. Let's look at the third and final component of burnout: prolonged high levels of stress. This is commonly known to be dangerous to the body. Studies have shown that stress can cause harm to blood pressure, the immune system, and even to our mental health. It's also important to recognize that God created us with different giftings and interests and therefore different roles. You can't be all things to all people. That's just not how God made you. Moses is a great example of that. In Exodus 18, Moses was operating outside of his calling and giftings, and Jethro, his father-in-law, told him to delegate these tasks to other leaders and go back to the role called him to be. Because if he stayed in that role, he would wear himself out. Moses was sitting as judge for the people. This was a necessary role, and Moses was probably really good at the job, but it was not what he was supposed to do. Sitting as judge was not the role God called him to. So when you're recruiting your volunteers, be aware that they may not be called to serve in that area, even though they're good at it. Have you ever done something that seemed really easy on the outside, but it was very stressful for you? Or maybe it's the other way around, where something appeared to be overwhelming to others, but for you was really easy? God doesn't gift us the same, and so what causes stress if it is different for each person. Being asked to fill a role or task that a volunteer isn't gifted or called to can be very, very stressful, even though from the outside it doesn't seem like stressful work. Prevent prolonged high levels of stress by regularly checking in with your team about the role that they're filling and if they're enjoying that work. Perhaps they want to shift or they need to change tasks. Retraining and onboarding volunteers can be very, very time consuming. However, it's more costly to burn out a volunteer, so they no longer wish to serve in any capacity. So to wrap up, we want to prevent burnout with our teams so they can remain healthy and have longevity in ministry. For this, we need to consider the 3 areas. Prevent hopelessness through providing times of rest, establishing milestones on projects, and communicating vision and direction for the team. We also need to avoid helplessness by providing opportunities for input into the work that people are doing and to create a culture of healthy boundaries with the permission to say no. And managing stress by recognizing when work is hard and validating its impacts, and by allowing people to work in areas that they're gifted in, and it's just not making it about recruiting warm bodies. Okay, thank you so much. Take care.